What's going on, everybody? This is Scorchin Trails. Long awaited. It's been a while, Torey, but we're back. I know it's been like the most hyped episode ever. People are begging for it. People love it. People need it. They need some Stephen Vaughan in their life and Torey Jones in their life. Especially they need my takes because they want to disagree with me, Torey. So, Torey, what's going on, man? I'm excited to be back with you.
I'm excited to be on this thing too, man. Like me and Steven, for those of you who don't know, we've been trying to make this happen for a while. I keep going on post-game shows like, yeah, we're going to record soon. And it's been like a month and a half. And there's a lot of people that want to know what you think about certain things. And it's a lot of people that I think disagree with you a lot, but they're very, very curious as to what Stephen Vaughan thinks about things. So that's what we're going to get into. And I'm curious about a few things too, so I'm looking forward to it.
I know, dude. I'm excited to tell everybody. I'm excited for you guys to tell me I'm wrong. It's always a good time. But, all right, let's start this. We're recording the day after the Damian Lillard game, Bucks Blazers in Portland, which you were at, I was at. Just such a sick game. Such a sick game. Let's go here in chronological order real quick. Introductions for Dame. You know what? Real quick. I know we'll talk about it a little bit. I said we weren't going to, but let's do it a little bit. I thought it was fine. I thought the videos were great. I thought that the standing ovation was great. I thought Blazers did a really good job overall in general to just pay tribute to Dame. So, did you have any other takes on that?
Yeah, so I just think they should have done the first tribute video before the game. I also thought they should have announced Dame last out of the 5 Milwaukee Bucks. I think just announcing him second was kind of weird because then you have an ovation and then Mark Mason finally has to announce the other 3, so then the ovation dies down. It was a little disjointed, it felt like, and I thought they should have done that first tribute video after they announced the Bucks starting lineup. I thought they could have just done a little better job of the timing of it all.
Yeah, no, it's it's one of those things where there's no like roadmap, perfect roadmap, like, whatever. I thought the videos are fine, whatever. The one thing I did find funny was at the end of the Blazers introduction there, Torey, little boo birds out there for Chauncey Billups. I mean, he got booed really loud.
Yeah.
Now, also, when they showed the Bucks coach, Doc Rivers, and everyone booed him, was people booing the video? Eric Brandt, your boy, said it was no video. I said it was because it was Doc Rivers, because I was booing Doc Rivers.
I heard other people say that they were booing Doc Rivers as well.
Yeah, because nobody likes Doc Rivers.
And literally every person is just like, yeah, because it's Doc Rivers. Okay.
That's what I said.
I didn't really understand it, but I think it's funny.
Yeah, no, because Doc Rivers is hateable. And, he coached the Clippers when the Blazers, playing the playoffs against him. So yeah. I thought that he got booed, but Chauncey got booed louder, dude. That was wild to me. I was looking around, and it was very loud. Majority people were booing.
It's all my cult members, man. I unleashed them all.
Dude, the entire cult was out. How did your entire cult get tickets to the game?
Because we're a bunch of Dame fans. I don't know.
That's true. That, you know what? Your fans are Dame fans and Chauncey hater fans. Look, here's my thing about Chauncey. Like, I still don't know if he's a good coach or not. I would assume he's not a good coach. Like, if I had to lean away, it's not a good coach. And I know, like, the X's and O's aren't great. A lot of the stuff out of timeouts isn't good. The fact that he challenged a play, won the challenge, but the Blazers lost the ball, like that kind of defines his entire Blazer era here. Like, it just defines Chauncey's coaching era with the Blazers. So, but I also am going to give him benefit of the doubt the fact that this team isn't supposed to win. Like, this team's not very good, and they haven't been good. They've been tanking the last couple of seasons. So I don't expect a lot of wins out of this team. They have been playing a lot harder, a lot better ever since that Oklahoma City loss. They had the Timberwolves loss right after that, but then they've been playing well the last couple of games. They beat Milwaukee. Now they're going on the road to take on Denver. They played tough against OKC the other day. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm still willing to give Chauncey to the rest of the year. I still lean Torey that he's not a very good coach, but it's also hard for me to confirm that and say, yeah, he's not a very good coach when he hasn't been put in a very good situation at all. Like, we talk about fit with players. Fit with coaching staff is just the same thing. Like, he has been in a terrible spot, not expected to win, and he's done a good job of not winning. So I don't know. I'm not ready to fire him like a lot of people, but I did think it's interesting that 1, Chauncey got booed a bunch, and 2, Jody Allen was at the game and they did not show her on the screen because that would have been the loudest boo of everybody.
That would have been interesting for sure. I would have loved to see Cronin on the screen, see what type of response that he got. But I think the thing with Chauncey is with him getting booed that loud there's nobody that's going to cheer for him. I don't think there's anybody that's going to really cheer for him, right? If anything, if anybody's loud, it's going to be people that boo. And since you had more people in the stadium, you just had more booing. No cheering, because nobody's going to cheer for him in introductions. So I think that's why it sounded even louder at that sort of game. It was very, very interesting and quite shocking, honestly. But as far as Chauncey goes, you know me, like, I don't like using the roster as an excuse to not try to do the right thing. To me, it's like if the roster is subpar, then they should struggle to execute the right thing, but that shouldn't stop them from trying to play the right way. And that's been my problem for the majority of the season, Steven. Just the offense is so stagnant. Lately, it's been better, and they've played better offense, and if the roster wasn't capable of playing a better style of basketball, then I don't think we would have seen the performance against the Sixers. They put up 130. The performance last night, they put up 119. Like, Ayton's starting to get going. I think part of that is they've been setting him some back screens, getting him some lobs. He's been rolling all the way to the rim on pick and rolls. So I just think that's the biggest issue for me is this should not be an ISO-heavy team, but it's maybe the most ISO-heavy team in the league. Jeremy Grant, statistically, is one of the lowest efficiency ISO players. That's at least according to Eric Brandt. He's not an efficient ISO player, but we'll see stretches where they just ISO Jeremy Grant for 3-4 possessions in a row. And not only doesn't not contribute to winning basketball, but I also don't think it's good for development of young players to just be stuck in an offense that's like stands around and then they get the ball and have to try and figure out what to do. I think it's better for young players to be in an offense that has a little more flow to it. I think Chauncey needs to do a better job teaching these guys how to move off the ball, when to cut. That sort of stuff is what I've been looking for this season and been disappointed in, but it started to turn around lately, so hopefully that can continue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's not surprising that in the past 6 games, very small sample size, but the Blazers are averaging like 26 and a half assists, and they're right in the middle of the NBA, and they actually are competitive, right? Like, they're starting to compete with teams where on the whole season, you look at the season outlook, they're dead last in assists. And so it's like, for that, like, yeah, I'm going to give Chauncey a little bit of credit. I think for me, defensively, I put more on the players. And my whole thing is I like to blame the players too. I don't want to just blame the coaching staff and management. I feel like that's such an easy way out. And just be like, oh, the players are great. The players are fine. It's all about the bad coaches, bad management. So, like, even for me, like, I blame Jody Allen less than a lot of people. And I know that's a terrible take here in Portland, but, like, if the Blazers had the Bucks talent, is Jody Allen the worst owner in the NBA? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I couldn't say that she is or she isn't, because they'd be winning ball games. So that's why I'm not ready to give up on Chauncey yet. There has been some improvement, like you said. And I do think the last couple games, they have been passing the ball a little bit better on offense. They have been moving the ball. So, if that continues the rest of the season, yeah, let's give them another chance next season. But, if it goes back to what it's been for the majority of the year, then I may be willing to, say, hey, this they need somebody else, somebody different. But that's Chauncey. I mean, whatever. We're still the Blazers are still so far away.
Yeah, I just want to say I fully agree with you. He can't regress. Okay, you see some progress.
Right.
He has to.
It can only get better.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, hopefully. I mean, it probably could get worse.
100% in terms of hopefully it gets better. 100% maybe in terms of it regressing, because we've seen his teams have little stretches where they start to move the ball well, and it always regresses. Remember the 4-game winning streak with Josh Hart? Remember the start of last season, right? And what happened to that? It regressed over the course of the season. So, it's a good sign now, but if history is precedent, then I kind of expect it to regress. If it doesn't, then I'll be sitting here giving him props. But until he can sustain a better offense, I'm not going to give him credit yet.
Right. It has to be, like I said, I just looked at the last 6. Literally the last 6 games, and they've been playing better. So
yeah,
and it is what it is. Like, there's signs that it shows, but we need to see it more consistently. But one of the guys that's been really good, though, Torey, is Malcolm Brogdon. He has been a hot topic right now here in Portland. So Brogdon does have one more year after this year, so he is under contract for next season if Portland is to keep him. Now, with the trade deadline a week away, I can't imagine Portland's not going to make a move, but I've been wrong before. I've been wanting Portland to make moves in the past, and they don't make moves. So If the Blazers end up making 0 moves, would it shock me? No, because I've seen this happen a lot in my lifetime in Portland. But it seems to me, Torey, they have to trade Malcolm Brogdon, and I might be Malcolm Brogdon's number one fan. I love that guy. I think he is awesome. Like, I was texting my friends the other night, just like, he is so good. He would have been so perfect as the 6th man with those Dame teams. Like, be able to bring him in off the bench, a ball handler, so Dame doesn't have to handle the ball 40 minutes a game. Like, he can create his own shot. He can create for others. He, solid defensively, solid offense, just solid everywhere. Just a really good player. So I'd love him. Selfishly, I would love to have Malcolm Brogdon in the Blazers. But realistically, I know they have to trade him. I know they have to trade Malcolm Brogdon in this week. And if they don't, that's definitely a failure. So it's tough, man. It's like, I want to have good players on this team just in case the Blazers ever, do make a jump within a year or two. Like, let's say Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe make a huge jump next season and the Blazers are, competing for a playoff spot. It would be nice to have Malcolm Brogdon on the team, but that's not realistic in my mind. So I think you're probably on the same page as me. Like, you got to trade him. Hopefully Joe Cronin does, and hopefully he gets something for him. What's your take on that one?
It's just funny to me because before the season, it seemed like this entire fan base was in agreement that we needed to trade Malcolm Brogdon by the deadline. And the argument wasn't that. It was, should we trade him before the season or should we keep him till the trade deadline and then trade him then? Somehow, some way, it seems like we're starting to lose the plot a little bit. And Steven, you know what I feel? Because I've felt this before. I feel like we're going the route of the Blazers keeping Malcolm Brogdon and it being that no team offered anything worthwhile for him, so they had to keep him. There was nothing they can do. And I'm so tired of every situation regarding the 3rd pick, regarding the Norm and Rocco trade, regarding potentially Brogdon now ending up in a situation where it's like, yeah, there's nothing they could have possibly done. And it's like, if you can't get back, in my opinion, a 1st-round pick for Malcolm Brogdon, then we have to start questioning your ability to sell assets, because I think there's a legitimate market for him. This is a buyer's market. There's a lot of competitive teams right now. There's not many sellers. A lot of the bad teams in the league don't even have a ton of good veterans like the Blazers do because they've fully rebuilt and fully gone young. So I think there is definitely enough suitors out there where Portland should get a trade back that they are willing to take if they're looking to move them. I just wonder, with the Blazers, in their past 9 games, they've been better. As you were talking about with the offense, in the past 9 games, they've won 5 of them. They're 5-4. And I'm starting to wonder if they're starting to kind of buy into this a little bit. We saw them do that with a 4-game winning streak when Josh Hart got traded to Portland. So we've seen them do it with a little bit of a smaller sample size. And it's just going to be fascinating to see how it plays out, because at the end of the day, Scoot Henderson, we'll talk about his situation in a second. He plays 22 minutes last night, and he looked great in the first half, but only plays 22 minutes, with Malcolm Brogdon playing 36, okay? So there's already a little bit of a debate as to Scoot Henderson maybe not playing enough, at least when he has a good first half. Shaedon Sharpe is hurt. What happens when he comes back? Whose minutes is he going to take? Because you got Jeremy Grant also starting at the 3, so right now you got 6 players playing point guard, shooting guard, and some small forward, and that's Brogdon, Simons, Scoot, Sharpe when he gets back, Thibault, and Grant. How do you make those minutes work? There really is no way to do it. So Sharpe comes back. He either has to bump Grant to the 4 full-time again, so they got to mix up the starting lineup because you need enough minutes at the 3 for Sharpe, because you're going to have to play the 3 if you still have Brogdon, Scoot, and Ant. Or if you keep Jeremy at the 3, you got to bench Thibault. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, you got to trade Thibault then if you're going to keep Brogdon in order to clear up enough minutes at the 3. So they got to trade one of those two, and it just makes more sense for it to be Brogdon given that he's a guard. So at the end of the day, like, the minutes breakdown will not work with the young guards, which is what the season is all about, developing the young core. So I don't understand any case for keeping Malcolm Brogdon right now. He's been great. It's nothing against him. It's just situational.
That's the problem, is he's too good. Like, he can't be on the team because if the Blazers, the ultimate goal, and we said it all along, it's to develop the young guys. And unfortunately, Malcolm Brogdon, not a young guy. He's 31 years old. Like, he's not going to be part of the future, and he definitely can help a team that is looking to make a postseason run. Like, the fact that he's done it in the postseason before, like he has solid numbers in the postseason, 38% on threes, averaged 12 points a game last year for the Celtics. Like there's a team out there that can use a guy like that, who's a veteran presence and can make a play. So you're right. Unless the Blazers, who are 8 back in the play-in tournament, like, are they going to try to make a run? God, I hope not. But like, there's no reason to keep Malcolm Brogdon. And it's funny because it's like, we just get so excited about any type of win. And I get it. Like the Bucks game was unbelievably exciting, crazy exciting. And it reminds you of how much fun winning is. But like the ultimate goal is not necessarily to win. It's not wins and losses this year. And so like when you're playing Malcolm Brogdon, you're going for the win because he's a winning player. Like he really is. Now he's not going to just win a bunch of games for you, but he's a winning basketball player. So I'm with you, dude. You got to end up looking to trade Malcolm Brogdon. I do think if they don't, I really don't know what they're doing. It's either that or it's Shaedon Sharpe really is hurt really bad. Yeah. That would be my only thing. But if Shaedon Sharpe's hurt really severely and they keep Malcolm Brogdon, then I'm like, okay, if Shaedon Sharpe doesn't play the rest of the season, that's one thing. But if he comes up playing, there's not enough minutes for everybody. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with that. And I just think of it. I think of it from another team's point of view. We'd rather have him for 2 playoff runs than 1 next season. When if you trade for him, people are going to say, "Oh, this could be a rental." Whereas if you trade for him now, you got him for this playoff run and next playoff run, assuming it's a team that's going to be in the playoffs both years. So it makes sense for other teams to try and get him now compared to the offseason. So I think the Blazers might be able to get back a little bit more value right now.
First round pick, right? Like
that's the goal. That's the baseline. If they can get back anything extra, I'm happy. If they get back a first, not all firsts are created equal, but just a first round pick for him, and I can live with it.
Legit, any first round pick, I'd be happy for Malcolm Brogdon. Like I think that'd be really good. Obviously, anything more bonus, but he is taking away from Scoot his minutes now. Let's talk about Scoot a little bit. He was unbelievable in that first quarter. What, he scored 10 points in the first quarter, maybe 15? 15 in the first half, I know.
He had 15, 15 in the first half. Phenomenal. And was efficient, too.
I think he had 10 in the first quarter and then just kept dominating. But you talked about it. He only played 9 minutes in the second half. And it's because of Malcolm Brogdon. Like Chauncey even said, like, you know what, we needed to get the other guys out there to win the game. So that's like the fine line that the Blazers are towing, right? Like, how competitive do you want to be versus how much are you willing to sacrifice for player development, right? Like, I think it's okay right now because we're still, 48 games into the season. Like, it's not true tank time yet. So I didn't necessarily have a problem with it. But if we're in game like 75 and Malcolm Brogdon's still on the team and that's happening where Scoot is not playing in the second half and Malcolm Brogdon's getting minutes, that's when it's a problem. So against the Bucks, I didn't have a problem. The Blazers were definitely out to win. That was the Blazers. I mean, that was their Super Bowl, Torey. Like, that was their NBA Finals Game 7. Win that game, only national TV game. The crowd was full. I mean, it was a playoff atmosphere in there. I've been to 2 playoff games in my life, one as a kid, one as an adult, and it was louder or, as loud or as louder than those games. Like, that's how loud it was in the Moda Center, and it was fun. It was fun to see. And, it was a real playoff atmosphere. So it was like, had Chauncey said, yeah, no, we're just going to play Scoot for development and then lose the game, I don't know that that's the right decision either for last night's game. But going forward, yeah, I would have a problem with it. So I didn't have a problem with it last night. But like I said, if they end up keeping Brogdon after the trade deadline and it's game 65 and the Blazers are truly out of it and then that happens, then I'm going to have a real problem with it.
Yeah, so my problem with it is last night playing him more in the second half wouldn't have been playing him for development because you could have made the case that he was the best player on the floor in the first half and he makes 2 mistakes.
But he was bad. He was bad in the third quarter.
He made 2 mistakes and missed a shot. He had 2 turnovers and missed a shot. And the turnovers were when the offense got stagnant and he tried to weasel through Giannis or something you know what I mean? Keep the offense moving. The problem is in the second half, once the half started, right, he already sat the last, I don't know, however long of the second quarter, then halftime, then, is sitting to start the third, comes back in, and then when he's in, he's standing off the ball the first few possessions, not even being involved in the offense, and it's you're going to lose your rhythm, and that's where it's a little frustrating because I think he got a rhythm and got confidence in that first half. I think that was the best half he's had as a Blazer. I think that looked like the Scoot Henderson the Blazers thought they were drafting. The reverse dunk, the jumping into the shot blocker's chest the way he did off 2 feet and, cogging the ball back, finishing.
Dude, he went after Giannis, dude. He got it up and over Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, that's insanely impressive. And just they were playing with pace, which I think benefits his game. And it's I know he makes a couple mistakes, but Brogdon had 3 turnovers. Ant has 3 turnovers. It's just like this dude was great, in my opinion, in the first half. And if he has a couple of turnovers, you're basically benching him for the rest of the game. I'm not a big fan of that. I just think it's, I understand if he struggles in the first half, if you're going to have a short leash in the second half, if he makes a mistake or two. I fully get that. My problem is when he's having a great first half or he's having a good start to the game and then you're not giving him a longer leash because of it. Because I think at this point, you got to build off his confidence because we're finally seeing some confidence stretches. He had that fourth quarter against Philadelphia where, yes, I know he went against scrubs, but he hit 3 threes in a row. Like 3 threes in a row from Scoot Henderson. I'll take that. I think part of the reason he hit 3 threes in a row was because he knew he was playing against the end of the bench, so he was playing with an extra level of confidence because he was playing against the end of the bench, right? So, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's playing starters or third stringers. Teams give him open threes. He hits 3 in a row when he's playing against scrubs because I think he was playing with confidence. So I saw that same confidence when he was in the game against Giannis, in the game against Dame in that first half. I just wanted the Blazers to keep building on it. I don't want it to be something where he has to worry if he makes a mistake that he's going to be benched for the rest of the game, even if he's been playing well up to that point.
But, okay, here's my thing. How much more do you want him to play Scoot? He played him 9 straight minutes in the second half. He took him out with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter because the game was close. He wasn't their best option, and he was going for the win that game. So, I get it. I think it does. It's the argument of, are you just going for development or going for a win? He wanted to put his best players out there. I don't think it affects Scoot. Scoot's mindset, Torey, I don't know what you think of it, but, I think he has an unbelievable mindset. The guy is, he's always working hard. From what I've heard, dude is working on his game nonstop.
Yeah.
So, I don't think one thing is going to affect him like that. And I think it was just an instance where Chauncey looked at the crowd and he looked at everything. He's like, dude, we need to try to win this game. I can't play Scoot out there. He had 2 turnovers in 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. He had to get him out of there. And so I felt like in that situation, he was just going for the win. That's why I just didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, that's 100% what he was doing. I just, even if his mindset...
when do you want him to go back in there? Or how much more do you want him to play after 2 turnovers in 3 minutes? I mean,
that's something where maybe you sub him out, sub him back in, see if he can catch a little rhythm in a 2 to 3 minute stint, then you can sub him back out. I just, the thing is when he's playing well, it doesn't have to be you're either valuing winning or valuing development, because when he's playing well, he can help you win. If he plays like he did in the first half, he's going to help this team win a lot of games, right? That's the future. But so I don't think when it's, I don't think it has to be an either or when he's playing well.
Do you think that type of subbing him out, just he makes a mistake, he gets subbed out? Do you think that affects Scoot? Do you think that's the type of the person he is, or can he take it?
I think he can take it. I don't think it's a problem with his mindset. I just think for any young player in the NBA, especially a rookie, your whole season, even if your mindset's perfect, your whole season you're trying to find confidence. You're trying to figure out that you can indeed play at that level at the NBA that you did at a lower level, right? And I think, he's had times he won't show it in an interview after a game. He'll say he's still confident. He just has to figure things out. I think he has a great mindset and says all the right things, but on the floor, it's different having that level of confidence against the best players in the world. So, I think you can tell the difference compared to some of his struggles earlier in the season to some of his better play recently. I mean, this is 2 straight games. He's been efficient, shooting 50% or better from the field. He had very few games like that earlier in the season. In that play where that was, jumped at the shot blocker's chest the way he did, he doesn't do that earlier in the season. That was a confident play. You got to have you got to have some guts to just catapult yourself into a defender that's much bigger than you that way and still finish. That is such a confident play. So I think you're starting to see him gain that confidence and he's playing better because of it. And that's where I would like to see if he can work through a couple of mistakes, especially in a playoff atmosphere, because Malcolm Brogdon's played in a playoff atmosphere. Anfernee Simons even has played in a playoff atmosphere, just not as key of a guy as he is now. Scoot Henderson has never experienced that, so that's where I kind of just wanted to see if he could come back from those couple of mistakes in such a great atmosphere, which is his first time experiencing it, you know?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I totally understand where Blazer fans are coming from on that. But I think this also proves the point that you and me were making earlier. Like, that's why you can't have Malcolm Brogdon on the team.
Yeah.
Or Anfernee Simons. If you want to trade Anfernee Simons or Shaedon Sharpe or Malcolm Brogdon, one of the three, you can't have all four with Scoot Henderson. You just can't have all of them. One of them has to be gone at the trade deadline because that way there's no questions about it, because the most important thing is to develop the young players, whether it's Anfernee Simons or Scoot or Shaedon Sharpe. It's development of those guys. So, like, if you're going to keep them, you got to develop them, you got to play them, you got to let them play through mistakes. I just thought it's in the one-game scenario against the Bucks, like, I'm not mad that he took him out and didn't let him play through those mistakes. He was going for the dub in that one, but I totally understand where a lot of Blazer fans are coming from. But it goes back to the whole trade. Like, there has to be a trade at the trade deadline. If there's not, it's a total disappointment, and that just proves the whole thing. Like, Scoot Henderson has to get playing time, especially at the end of games. You got to see what he can do. Can he make a clutch 3-pointer when you need him to? He can make him against scrubs. Can he make him in the clutch spot? So, no, dude, I'm with you on that. They got to get a trade.
They do.
Does it have to be Brogdon? Or could it be Shaedon Sharpe or Anfernee Simons? What do you think?
I mean, if it's Shaedon Sharpe or Anfernee Simons instead of Brogdon, what's their direction? Because their direction is they went young. And Brogdon is how old? He's 31 or something like that?
31.
And you got Sharpe, who's 20. You got Simons, who's 24, right? They're all guards. Sharpe can swing up to the 3. But you went with the young timeline.
Can you go Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, and Simons all together at one time?
I mean, hypothetically, you could argue yes or no, or maybe. We haven't seen it, is the problem. Because Sharpe's been hurt. Ant's been hurt. Like, I am a full proponent of trading Malcolm Brogdon at the trade deadline, and if you can get a good enough deal, trading Jeremy Grant at the trade deadline, and then going with Scoot, Simons, Sharpe as your starting point guard, shooting guard, small forward. It might be bad, but guess what? There's a good chance that they're going to tank the last month of the season like they have the last 2 years anyway. You might as well try and learn something that can help you make an educated decision in the future as to which one of those three you have to trade if you do have to trade them, or can they actually function at all together. I think the key for that is, like, Sharpe has to be more consistent defensively. He'll have an impressive moment here or there, but he's a little inconsistent. And then Scoot, I think we'll start to figure it out and start to get a better whistle on that end. Can those two guys be good enough defenders at point guard and small forward with Ant to be like a solid enough defensive team? I think you have to get a really good defensive 4 and 5. You have to have two guys that can really cover for them. I'm hoping for Alex Sarr in the draft as a good defensive big that can play the 4 or the 5. But yeah, we gotta figure it out, and I just don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're at the point where we trade one of those guys. I think we need to figure it out because that could be our future. Malcolm Brogdon is not our future. He's 31. So for me, everything with this trade deadline comes back to direction. Steven, I'll be so frustrated if last year when they're supposedly trying to win, they trade away a role player for a first-round pick, right? But then this year when they're actually rebuilding and going young, they don't.
Look, I'm not saying they should. I haven't heard anything. I just wanted to throw it out there, see what you'd say. No, I'm with you. They got to play those three guys together, and I think that's after the trade deadline. That should be the goal, is to play those three guys. See if they can do it together, because I'm with you. I think I have a lot of questions of defensively, at least here with Scoot. Like, Scoot's going to get after it, and Scoot's going to hustle every single play on the defensive end, and that's his mindset. So it's up to Anfernee Simons, Shaedon Sharpe become an average to above average defender, and then I think it can work. But one of those guys has to step up on that end. I also think when I watch Scoot, Torey, is like, his offense obviously isn't there, but he's getting there. He's getting more confident. It's getting a lot better. You see the jump shot consistently going down a little bit more. He's getting to the rim better. He's finishing better. He's the guy that the Blazers need to be their best player. I know Anfernee Simons is their best guard right now. I know he's the most clutch player in the NBA, but Scoot Henderson down the road has to be this team's best player in my mind. My thing with Anfernee Simons is he's a really good scorer. He's a good, solid player, but I don't think he's that alpha guy. I think Scoot can be that guy. So I want to see the development with Scoot. So, like, if you're going to trade one of these guys and it's not Brogdon, somehow they're going to keep Brogdon for some odd reason. Not that I want him to. I would want it. I'd rather him trade Anfernee than Shaedon.
Yeah, with Ant, I just don't think they'd get back on what they should for him. I think it wouldn't be selling at the right time.
Agreed.
And for some reason, the NBA seems, in my opinion, to undervalue that archetype via trade a little too much.
Well, here, go do this exercise. You don't have to do it right now, but everybody go do this exercise. Take every playoff team, and then take Anfernee Simons, and tell me what option he would be. It's 3, basically, on every team. Like, he's a good scorer. He's a really good scorer. He would be the 3rd option on basically every single playoff team. He'd be number 2 on a couple teams, but that's kind of what he is. He's a 3rd option on a team. Just go check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think ceiling is number 2 on a playoff team, number 2 maybe on a contending team.
But that's why I say Scoot has to be the best player on this Blazer team going into the future.
I actually agree with that.
Hey, look at that.
I actually agree with that. But my thing too though is I think Tyrese Maxey is better, but like he's a number 2 on a playoff team because he took that leap. I think part of the reason he took that leap was he had a number 1 next to him. Can Anfernee Simons look even better than he is right now if he has a number 1 next to him that's maybe not another guard? It's kind of my question.
It's interesting because Dame has looked worse playing with the number 1 guy next to him, right? Like,
yeah,
Dame was awesome as a number 1, but now he's looking worse as a number 2 because I feel like he's still learning how to be the second option. Like it's like you said, like he's kind of just off the ball, not necessarily getting a lot of pick and rolls, and then all of a sudden it's, hey Dame, go, your turn, get the pick and roll. It's not, hey Dame, every single play, do what you want to do, go take 35 footers, go ISO, go pick and roll every single time. Because we're a terrible organization and we have no organization. It's just like, hey, Dave, you run the organization. Do whatever you want. The Bucks are like, no, we're a well-run organization. We do things that are going to be winning basketball plays. So, Dame, you can't control the ball every time. And I think Dame's adjusting to it where you're right. Maybe Anfernee Simons, if he plays with an Embiid or he plays with the Giannis, maybe he'd be even better. Like, he might put up better numbers than Dame does right now. It is interesting to think, but Tyrese Maxey, he's awesome. I do love him. They had, I mean, I tell you what, here's my hot take, Torey. NBA Finals, collision course. If Embiid's healthy, obviously, towards meniscus. Yeah. If he's healthy, it's Philly versus the Clippers.
Really?
Yep. They're the 2 best teams in the NBA.
I agree with the Clippers,
especially when Philly makes a trade at the trade deadline and adds more pieces. Philly's going to be the best team in the East if Embiid's healthy.
It depends on the pieces. Depends on the pieces.
Nick Nurse is a much better coach than Mazzulla. Yes. I'm laughing at Doc Rivers. I don't trust the Bucks. And so if it comes down to a playoff series between Nick Nurse and Joe Mazzulla, give me Nick Nurse all day, every day. And then I'm getting Embiid. I'm getting Tyrese Maxey, who's better than Harden in the playoffs. Tyrese Maxey's, that's why they traded Harden, because Maxey stepped up. And then you look at Harden over the Clippers, like he's their 3rd option. He's a perfect fit over there. Yeah. Clippers are awesome, though. I think the Clippers are making it anyways, but if Philly's healthy, it's Philly and the Clippers in the finals.
The thing is with both those teams is health. Same thing with the Clippers, too.
And playoff choking.
And playoff the NBA playoffs
Paul George, James Harden.
Dude, the NBA playoffs this year are going to be so much fun. And with the Blazers having no expectations of the playoffs, I think I'm going to be able to watch them without feeling any type of way about how the Blazers aren't there, right? I'm kind of getting used to this whole sucking thing. But, I mean, in the East, you talk about, like, Philly, if they add pieces, like, the Knicks are a half game back a second. They've won 9 in a row. Since they got OG, man, I did not think they would be this good with OG. They've been insane. They've been amazing, right?
Maybe the Blazers should have traded for OG. Maybe he would have been a perfect fit next to Dame.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
they should have traded the 3rd pick in the draft for him.
Yeah, you had Jeremy as your Julius Randle.
That's what I was saying.
You had Dame, whose last year was better than Brunson. And they have Josh Hart, too.
And OG, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, Dirk.
They got some underrated role players over there, though, like DiVincenzo. I think Hartenstein's underrated.
McBride's really good off the bench.
Yeah, McBride can give you some spot minutes. Quentin Grimes is just like a 3-and-D guy.
Well, McBride's shooting like 45% from 3, man. Like, that dude doesn't miss this year.
Yeah, so, like, I think the Knicks, this is the first time I'm buying stock in the Knicks because they also have a bunch of first-round picks even after the OG trade. Well, especially after the OG trade, because they didn't even trade a first-round pick in that trade, did they? It was R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. So they got all these picks, so any star that becomes available, they could be in play for, which
Brunson's
is fascinating.
A baller, dude. Brunson's so tough, dude.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
If there were more sellers with good players, this trade deadline would maybe be the craziest trade deadline of NBA history because of teams like the Knicks, the Sixers, even the Pacers, got some young talent that they could put in.
Well, there's so many teams that feel like they're like one piece away from like actually kind of contending, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you even look at like a team like Minnesota, like they're the top of the West. Like, do we really think they're a real contender? I don't know, but if they added another piece, like, sure, maybe they are.
Yeah.
Same with like Oklahoma City. Like Oklahoma City is really good, but are they ready to compete yet for a title? Probably not, but they're not going to make a move. They have too many young guys that are going to be awesome. So I don't know.
That's why it's going to be fast. Yeah, that's why it's going to be fascinating because I could see the Timberwolves losing to Dallas or losing to the Lakers, or if Phoenix falls to 8, I could see them losing
Golden
to the
State.
Lakers.
Yeah.
It's true parity, I think. Denver won it all last year, but they haven't looked like the same dominant team. They're still 33-16, but I think losing Bruce Brown hurt them a little bit. Maybe they're just coasting because they just won a championship. I'm not sure. But right now they're in 4th. The Clippers, will they finally get it done? There's so many storylines, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to just.
So what you're saying is, Torey, is the West is wide open, and the Blazers should keep Brogdon and go for it. That's what I heard. That's what I heard you say.
I've heard people try and say the Blazers should go for the play-in because of how they've played lately. Okay, as I said, they're 5-4. Steven, they're 5-4 in their last 9 games, okay? So if they continued at this pace, right? They're playing amazing. They're over 500 in 9 games. They're 5-4. If they continued at that pace, they'd be like a 33-win team at the end of the year. 33-49 is not going to be good enough for the play.
They just beat 2 championship contenders, Torey. They beat Philadelphia. It doesn't matter who played. They beat Philadelphia, and they beat Milwaukee. So what are you talking
And now
about?
they play Denver tomorrow, and we get to come back to reality.
Yo, if they beat Denver, what if they sweep the Denver? They beat them twice in a row. People are going to be buying in, man.
Oh, God, man. But, guess what that is?
Hurry Robert Williams back.
But what is that? What is that? That's a 4-game winning streak before the All-Star break. Remember the last time that happened? I don't know. I don't know why we always do this, because it always comes back to...
Honestly, that would be the worst thing. That would be the worst thing that could happen.
Dude, I legitimately don't think I want them to win the next 2 games. Not even for tanking purposes, I don't want them to convince themselves to keep everyone and then try and, trade a future pick for a role player to try and make a play-in push. They chose rebuild. I don't want to get stuck in the middle. You know my whole thing, Steven. I do not want to get stuck in the middle. I want to actually contend and try and win a championship one day, because I've never seen this Blazer team contend.
Yeah. 2000 was the last time they did it. So
yeah, I was too young for that.
I know we all love Dame, but I mean, let's be real. They were never true contenders with Dame. So it's 2000. That was the last time they were contenders.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck in the middle.
Can't.
We just got out of it.
They've been in the middle. They've been in the middle for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. And it starts with trading Brogdon. And I love Malcolm Brogdon. I want him to be on the Blazers for life, but they can't. They can't keep him. You got to trade him. You got to move him. It just doesn't make any sense, man. God. Yeah. They're not going to trade him too. Something dumb's going to happen. They're going to keep him.
Legitimately, my gut feeling is that I'm going to be sitting here the night after the trade deadline saying, no, that's not all they could do was keep Malcolm Brogdon. It's just the same thing on repeat, I feel like. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh, I sure hope not.
We're gonna have to record. Yeah. We're gonna have to record after the trade deadline, though, because I'm gonna look forward to that. We gotta get this regular again. I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah, bring it.
So I think you self-proclaimed last year that you're a pretty big college basketball guy, right?
Yeah.
You're a big college basketball guy. So I'm at the point where I'm starting to actually really watch prospects. Yeah. I'm curious if there's anybody that you really like in this draft. Last year, I'll give you credit, man. You were like, Jaime Jaquez just seems like he'll be a really good NBA player. And I wasn't even buying. I was like, I don't know about that. Now he's a top 3 rookie in this class, okay? So
baller. Dude's a baller, dude.
Absolute baller, and you called it. So I fully and bought into whatever you have to say and whoever you like now. You earned that. So is there anybody that you've taken a liking to in this year's draft class?
The answer would be no. No, there's not. I think at the top of the draft, if Cody Williams is going to be good. Like, I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's going to be a solid NBA player. Like, he's going to be good. I don't know if he's a star, but obviously you're going to have like a top 3 pick to get that guy. So like,
yeah.
There's really not many guys in college that I'm looking in like the 20s or late first, or Hawkins was thought to be like a second round pick at the time. There's nobody right now that really jumps off the page for me. I'm gonna have to pay more attention and like really dig into it more, but no. The short answer is no. There hasn't been any guys. Like, this draft is so it's gonna be so, it's very, like, I know we're all saying it's a bad draft, which it probably will be. It'll probably end up being a bad draft, but we don't know that, right? Like, someone's going to come out and it could be awesome. There's no one that jumps off the page for me. Like, the best college player, best college prospect is Cody Williams, but that's about it. So if the Blazers ended up with him, I'd be happy.
Yeah. No, I'd be happy too. I'm pretty high on him. Like, even if he's not a star, just as a role player that can shoot, play some defense, handle the ball, pass. Like, that's a great.
And that's the thing. He may just be a role player. He may not be any type of star, but like, he'll be able to at least play in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's tough to find guys with star upside. Like, I went to the G League Ignite game, the first game they played the remix, and that was like Ron Holland's worst game in a while. And of course, the second time they played the remix, they played him 2 nights in a row, Holland went off the following game. So I'm trying not to let my opinion be swayed too much, but Ron Holland was just like pouting the whole game and bricked every 3, and it was just not even close. And it's like, do I want another guy from the G League Ignite who struggles with his jump shot? Because they don't have a good track record. Now, it probably is still a little too early, but they haven't produced any stars. I don't know if that's actually a good situation for these young guys to go to develop for the NBA. And also, financially, it's no longer a good idea to go to it because you got crazy NIL money at all these universities now. So it's going to be interesting to see if that continues to be a place where players go. It seems like this next year's class, they're shying away from it. But G League Ignite guys worry me now. Hopefully Scoot can buck the trend. But there is one guy that I don't think makes a ton of sense for the Blazers, but I've been in love with this guy for like a month. I've been in love with this game, and he's now starting to kind of put the country on notice, I guess, and that's Dalton Knecht. That was one of my guys, like, even before he went on this recent tear, and he's been tearing it up. So I got him like 7th on my board right now. I'm already into big board mode. He's a guy that I think is going to be really good. And then
the crazy part is, like, dude played at Northern Colorado. Like, and now he transfers to Tennessee and is awesome. Like, he was good at Northern Colorado. Like, I watched him at the Big Sky. Like, the dude was a baller, but I never thought he'd be a NBA first-round pick, let alone a top 10 pick, a lottery pick. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, you could talk me into it. How good is that guy going to be? What is he? Is he just a shooter in the NBA?
No, I mean,
can he create enough?
I think he can create enough. I think part of it is he's going to use his shot to get downhill off the dribble. Okay, so hezzies, that sort of thing. And I think he's just shifty enough to shake someone, and I think he's just quick enough to get a step on someone. The question is, can he get to the rim? Can he separate, that sort of thing? But like, his mid-range shot is really good. 3-point shot, really good. He can shoot off the dribble, and then he can finish with his right and left. He's had some really impressive left-hand finishes. Like, I think even if he doesn't beat guys, he uses his body so well and uses angles so well that he'll still be able to get to the rim, get to the backboard, at least finish. And that's why I like the guy. I think he's going to be a lethal 3-level scorer. I feel like he's going to maybe be the Jaime Jaquez of next year's rookie class. So I'm making my Steven prediction just with Dalton Knecht. There's a couple other guys, like Eric loves a dude named Ulrich Chomchi. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's like Eric always finds these guys that are overseas and like nobody knows, and then says the name, and like 90% of our chat has never heard the guy, and then like 2 weeks later 90% of our chat loves the guy with Eric. It's just this funny type of thing this time of year. So Ulrich Chomchi is one of those guys. And then there's a dude named Salon. I don't know if you've heard of him. It's like Tijon Salon, that I think would actually make a lot of sense for this team that Eric has, I think, number 2 on his board. He really likes him. So that's a guy to look into. But yeah,
sounds like just like NBA 2K generated players.
Dude, for real. For real. I know a lot of people make that joke about Duop Reith, but he's been pretty damn good. So I'll roll the dice with another 2K player.
I want Duop Reith for the Blazers forever. I was going to talk to you about Deandre Ayton real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So since DeAndre's come back, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 56% shooting. Against the Bucks, he was awesome. The last 6 games, what is this, 6 games? I can't count. Yeah, 6. Last 6, he's been awesome, like really good. Okay, is he the contract? Look, at first, don't even think about the contract. He's paid too much. All right, we all can agree he's overpaid. But is it a guy that the Blazers want to build with? Like, is this a guy you want to build with the Blazers going forward?
Oh man, that's a tough question. The guy we've seen the last 5 or 6 games, yes. The guy we saw before that, no. The problem is,
but how can anybody get this guy to play like that? Like, that's the question. Like, what's been different? Is it just motivation? Are they putting him in better spots? Because the Blazers claim that they're putting him in better spots. They're looking for him more. Like, they're trying to get him the ball more. I don't necessarily see that. I just see the dude playing harder.
I think they are. I think part of it is pick and rolls, right? Earlier in the season, he would always stop his roll at the free throw line and would always shoot a fadeaway mid-range 15-footer on every pick and roll, no matter how they guarded it. I think part of it is he's doing a little better job of actually rolling all the way to the rim to be a lob target, which is a much more efficient play and much harder to defend. Part of it is they've actually started, like, using him to set some off-ball screens and then slipping him off those screens backdoor for lobs when people overreact to the guy coming off the screen. And it's funny because, like, I see a play like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, that's the type of basketball we need to play. Steven, it is such a basic action. It is such a basic thing. But that's been my problem with the offense, going back to what we talked about, is Chauncey's offense has been so stagnant. There's so many times where you watch anybody off the ball and they are just standing still for entire possessions. And it's like Ayton a lot of times will just sit around the free throw line and kind of clog up driving lanes, and the spacing's wonky with that, and doesn't even like sit in the dunker spot or on the block around the rim. And that's where I do think that they are putting him in a better spot, because I've seen plays where he'll set a pin down for Ant when Ant maybe just made a 3, and his defender will overreact to Ant coming off that screen, and Ayton will slip it backdoor lob. Like, he had a 2-game stretch where he had 7 dunks, and a lot of them were lobs on stuff like that. I've seen Ant, instead of coming off his screen, set a back screen for him and Ayton peel off of it. I think they do got to find ways to get him more shots around the rim as a lob target. But I also think you could do that with most bigs in the league. So is that something where it's like a good on Ayton thing? Or is that something where you could do similar stuff with somebody? I know you said not to talk about contract, but somebody at like a third of the price. I don't know. So that's where building around him, I'm not sure.
It's hard. Hey, to your credit, it's hard to not talk contract with him because it's so bad.
It's very hard. But like, do you expect him to keep this up? Because he's always had these random stretches, even in Phoenix. And then he always seems to revert back to the same player. I don't know. He's never been consistent. So do you expect this to continue?
I don't. I don't expect it to be consistent because he's so far. I mean, he's not even far along his career. He's still a young guy. He's 25 years old? Is that? I mean, right? 25, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah, 25. 25 years old. Like, I mean, he's still relatively young, but he's been in the league for so long. Like, I don't expect him to all of a sudden start being more consistent. Like, he kind of is what he is. That's why Phoenix didn't want him, because he wasn't consistent. That's why there isn't necessarily like a huge market for this guy, because he's not consistent. So no, I don't expect him to be consistent. It's kind of like Nurk. Like, Nurk would have stretches where you're like, man, this guy is awesome. And then he'd have stretches where you're like, what is this guy doing? And I think with DeAndre Ayton, when he's on, he's better than Nurk. Like, he finishes at the rim a little bit better. I think he's a little more active defensively when he's engaged and he's into it. But his lows are lower than Nurk's. Mm-hmm. So I think you're getting a wider range. It's different than Nurk, but it's also the same as Nurk at the same time. So I don't expect it to be any different, but I think that's the real question. Is like, I was talking to my Blazer guy, and I was like, man, Ayton's been playing really well. And then all he replied with was, How do you get him to consistently do that?
Yeah.
And that's my question. It's like, how can you do that? I don't know. I don't think there is an answer. I think it's all in DeAndre's head. And, he's had those quotes basically saying, like, he has everything to prove. And it's like, that doesn't help your case.
Did that bother you at all?
I didn't like it. I'm in the minority. I didn't like that he didn't find a way to get to the game when it was the ice storm. I understand how slippery it was. Brooke Olsendam got there. She had a broken foot. You got to find a way to get to the arena. Dude, you're making, what, $30 million a year? I don't even know what he's making. What does he make? You're better at contracts than I am. What's his contract?
$32 million this year. It's a max. So,
Bro's making $32 million a year, and he can't find a way to the basketball game when there's 82 games a season.
Well, the thing that gives me pause on criticizing him is they supposedly sent people out to try and help him, and those people couldn't figure it out. So it's like, but Steven, what I really want to know is what exactly did they try to do to help him? Like, how do you send people out and they can't figure it out? Like, did they get to his house and then get stuck? Could they not get to his house? Why couldn't they get to his house? They didn't have, like, a super Ford 350, F-350 with winter tires or something that could handle it? Like, I don't know.
I have a super beat-up Toyota Camry that I was getting around town in the ice storm. And I lived in Milwaukee where there was tons of videos of those hills by 7-Eleven. And I'm driving around. I don't know. I had a problem with it. I had a problem with them not going to the game. Like, I think that was the bad look, and I know a lot of Blazers fans defended him. I can't. Like, so you got to get to the game. So, no, I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to be consistent. If you can get him consistent, yeah, I think he could be part of the future, and he'd be a great fit. A great fit on this Blazer team. Like, I think he fits perfectly because, like you said, Scoot is learning how to throw that lob pass to him. Like, a Scoot DeAndre Ayton pick and roll with Scoot's athleticism, the way he's finishing at the hoop, and the way DeAndre can rim run and can get an alley-oop, that's going to be tough to stop, man.
Yeah.
Like, even Tamani Kamara, if he learns how to set a pick and roll, like, he's going to be athletic, can make a play off that too. But how do you get it to be consistent? I don't know. I don't think he wants to be. I don't think he cares. I like the guy. I think he's a really good player, and I think the Blazers are going to have to keep him because I don't think there's a market. But it's tough, dude. It's tough with DeAndre Ayton.
Would you trade him for just any expiring contract just to get off his contract?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't because I think he can help a team. He can still help a team. Like, I don't think he's a negative. Like, even with his contract, I don't think he's a negative. I think he's still a positive player. Like, if the Blazers are ever to be good in the next couple seasons and DeAndre Ayton's 28 years old, I think he can still be really effective in the NBA. So, no, I wouldn't trade him because I think – and I usually don't like paying centers, but I don't think he's a negative. What about – I mean, would you? Would you trade him just for any expiring?
I was a big advocate of that before his recent play. I still would probably do it, and it's not necessarily like it's more so opportunity cost for me, and that's where we get into like just deep CBA stuff that I don't even really feel like going into right now. But it's more so just
and
like,
I don't want you to
like this team. You know they aren't going to pay the tax right now with their draft picks. They're actually projected to be in the luxury tax as the roster stands next offseason. That's without signing anybody with potentially a mid-level exception or anything, because they're going to be in the tax with a rebuilding team. Jody is not going to want to do that, so they almost have to trade someone at this year's trade deadline because Jody's going to tell them to get under the tax, or
what
Jody
if she
doesn't realize.
What if she doesn't?
Then
what if the Blazers end up at the trade deadline and they're over the tax?
You know what, Steven? That would actually piss me off. Because
she wasn't willing no matter what.
No, well, she wasn't willing to do it for Dame when we were actually trying to win. Why is she doing it now when we're rebuilding then? You know what I mean? Like, why were you willing to do it before then?
Look, I talked to people in the organization, some, not everybody, but there are some that will say Jody Allen is more invested in this team than people realize.
Yeah, well, invest in paying the tax then.
That's what I'm saying. What if she did this year?
But you know what people say when I say, okay, we'll pay the tax.
I know what you're
saying. They're always like, well, she's not going to pay the tax for a team that's not winning. So Well, we'll
it just
see.
it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to do it this year. Like,
It's just
why are you doing it? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, if you're keeping all the vets and now you're willing to pay the taxes, like all the stuff you should have done with Dame, but now you're doing it after you ran him out of town. That's just something's wrong with that to me.
You know what? I've been thinking about this DeAndre Ayton thing. I would definitely keep him. I want to see maybe Chauncey can't get something out of him. He shows too much potential, Torey. Like the way he plays, dude's pretty automatic in the mid range. Like when he's on, he is awesome. He's awesome.
He's just on like 30% of the time. He has faulty batteries, bro. He does not have the consistent. He's just not consistent enough for me.
He's not.
It's tough. But the part
it's
of
that
it too
contract,
is like,
dude. The contract's so bad.
You don't want to pay a max contract to a guy that can't create his own shot.
Right.
And he can't create his own shot. He needs to be fed and set up on a lot of his buckets. Okay? The only types of guys that you can maybe make an argument for are guys that are absolute game changers defensively, like a Rudy Gobert. Right? But DeAndre Ayton is not an absolute game changer. It's not that he's not a solid defensive big man. He ain't a game changer. So that's where it's like, you look at max contracts across the league, and he's not a good one. What's another bad one? It's Ben Simmons. He's also a guy that struggles to create his own shot. And the thing is, he was a little bit of a game changer defensively for a period in time there, but injuries have slowed that down. He's a bad max contract.
Who'd you rather have, DeAndre Ayton or Ben Simmons?
DeAndre Ayton. I don't like Ben Simmons.
I like Ben Simmons. I think when he's healthy, he's awesome.
He comes back, has a good game, and he's hurt again.
Obviously, you can't trust the guy.
Yeah.
That was one of my better calls, too. Back when the Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram draft, I remember talking to people, and I'm like, dude, I'd go Brandon Ingram all day.
Dude, I did too. Yeah.
It's like I watched Ben Simmons play. I remember watching him at the Hoop Summit, and he had a triple-double like really close. And I'm like, the guy had no effect on the game, but he still had a triple-double. Like, it didn't do anything for me. I'm like, what did he do? Whatever. But I also like Scal better than Ben Simmons at that point, too, so I'm an idiot.
I love it. Dude, Scal looked like LaMarcus Aldridge, but better when he was in high school.
I was working for the Blazers at that time, Torey. I will not lie about this. I was sitting in the scouting department. I was part of the scouting department. I was working with, sitting next to some of the scouts guys, and they said they had Scal over Ben Simmons on their board at that point.
Yeah.
He was the guy.
He was the number one player in his class. Like, he was looked at as that type of guy.
They go watch Scal. He's the next Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And then he killed in his Nike Hoops. I'm like, I'm all in on this Scal guy.
Yeah. No, I love Scal. I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened with him because he had skill.
But he was just trash at Kentucky.
Yeah. That's Kentucky. You know what?
That's a Calipari problem.
Well, you know what it is, dude? Kentucky, since Anthony Davis, guards do much better in the league. Front court players, even if they're a 5-star prospect, they either struggle to make it to the league or don't make it to the league at all. Like, they've had guys, I don't know if you remember, like Khalil Whitney. Me and Eric were talking about this the other day. Like, they have all these front court players that fall off the face of the earth that at the start of the season are projected NBA draft picks, and then they completely fall off draft boards. It's literally happening this year with Justin Edwards. He was projected as a top 5 pick coming into the season. Now he's like a second rounder and might completely fall off of boards. I don't know what it is. It's so strange. Because every guard that comes in, it's like Maxey, Hero, Quickly, like
not
all the
DJ
guards
Wagner though.
What did you say?
What about DJ Wagner this year? You like him?
I like him. I need to pay a little bit more attention to him. I love Dillingham. I think Reed Shepherd is going to be a really good role player. I don't know if he has star potential though, so he's kind of a safe pick. Dillingham, I think, has the highest upside of the 3, and I would draft, if I needed a guard, I would draft him before the other 2 because he's been impressive. The only thing with him is he's pretty small. Doesn't get to the rim enough. So,
man, basketball's a fun sport, Torey. I tell you what. I love it. It's funny because it's just like, dude, everyone can have such different opinions on basketball, and none of them are like wrong. Like, you can't prove that any of them are wrong, but some are just so out left field, then some you feel like are really good. So I don't know. I love basketball, man. It's so much fun.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I wanted to get your take on the trade Dame guy at the Dame game.
So I actually decided if I ran into him at the arena, I was gonna say something, and I was just gonna.
Did you hear anybody boo Dame? Did you hear anybody boo Dame? By the way,
no. Did you?
I heard one. I heard one boo in his introduction. There was a guy that had his hands like up to his face, and I could hear boos.
Yeah, one Redditor got out of his house. Dang, dang, you hate to see it.
And it was not the trade Dame guy, so at least two guys booed.
Oh God, I mean, I expected there to be like 5% of people booing, and that's probably what it was. So I'm happy with
my dad said he would have booed.
Well, that's disappointing to hear, Steven. The trade Dame guy decided if I ran into him, I was just gonna be like, "Bro, you really spent your money on that, you fool! Like, what are you doing?"
I respect it, dude. I respect it, bro.
I don't respect him at all. I would have disrespected him to his face.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the decision. I would never have spent my money on that. But the fact that that guy felt so confident and his take was like, "I'm gonna trade Dame. That's what I want."
You can go on Twitter and spam trade Dame. You don't need to put it on a jersey.
It's also funny, dude. Like, it's a Dame tribute night, and you're the one guy that says, "I hate Dame and trade him." That's funny. Like, that's legit funny. I'm sorry. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was stupid, bro. I mean, yeah, you wear that to a Blazer game, and most people are just going to think you're a jackass. So,
right.
Great job.
Right.
And they're going to question why you spent your hard-earned cash on that.
I thought it was really funny.
Like,
I think it's so funny, dude.
How many Scoot Henderson jerseys do you see, bro?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Instead of buying a Scoot jersey, this dude is buying a custom trade Dame jersey. Like, just buy a Scoot jersey. You want the new era? Funny. There you go.
It's funny, like, dude, because Dame's been so good for the franchise. Like, he's been by far the best player for 10 years or so. And this guy is like, I hate that guy. I'm trade Dame. I'm gonna make a jersey that says trade Dame, and then on his night, I'm gonna buy a ticket. He looked like he had pretty close seats too. Like, I'm gonna buy a pretty expensive ticket, wear my trade Dame jersey, and just not care what any of these Blazer fans say.
How old is he? Is he just a rich kid, like, using his parents' credit card to buy it? Is that
he's just
why
a
he
Lake
bought
Oswego
it?
guy?
Probably.
No offense to Lake Oswego.
No, he probably is from Lake Oswego.
I got my West Lynn shirt on.
Nice. Yeah,
but I'm up here. West Lynn, so.
I'm up here in Vancouver, still chilling, still hanging out, man. Doing as good as
I'm
ever.
I'm in Milwaukee in the OG, the Oak Grove, so I am poor. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny, so I want to give props to that guy for having the balls to make that jersey and to wear it on that night. Good for you. I don't agree with it, but good for him.
I'm kind of glad I didn't run into him because I really was about to say something.
I bet so many people did.
Oh, man. I would have loved to have, like, just walked behind or walked by. Well, I guess if he's walking through the arena, you're not really seeing the trade Dame part. It just looks like he's wearing a Dame jersey from the front.
That's
Unless
true.
he replaced
That's
the word, like, the Blazers across the front with trade Dame also. I don't know.
Trade Dame on the front and the back. There was tons of, like, it was a who's who at the arena. Did you see a lot of players and stuff? I was at Channing Frye was there.
Was he?
Turner was there.
Yeah.
We walked right by Channing Frye. Brooke and Robin Lopez's dad is insanely cool looking. Because he looks exact. I mean, it's legit. He looks exactly like Brooke and Robin. Like, the exact same. It is wild. I saw him walking around at, like, halftime. He looked so cool. But yeah, there's a lot of people that were, like, dressed in suits, like, super nice, fancy people there. It was a who's who at the Blazer game. Yeah,
no, I mean, it was like a celebrity event to go to, almost, nationally televised. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like, I've never seen so many people that I know that went to that game. Like, so many people that I know went to that game. And it's like, dang, they don't got enough seats, man. Like, if they had a bigger arena, they probably could have still sold out because there were so many people that were talking about, like, yeah, I want to go, but I don't want to pay for tickets or this or that. Like, there was legitimately multiple people in my rec league up here in Vancouver like, bro, we're all going to the game. You going? I'm like, nah, probably not, because I didn't think I was going to. I didn't think I was going to be able to get a good enough deal on tickets because I wanted to sit close if I was going to go. And they were just like, yeah, we're all going. And then legitimately, like, walking to the stadium, there was, like, a best friend I had in high school that ultimately dated my sister. So we were no longer friends like that, you know? It was kind of this whole thing. But, you know, no animosity. No, it was just in high school. You're one of your best friends dates your sister. It's kind of bad. But legitimately, I'm walking to the stadium, and I just hear my name. I turn around and it's this dude, like, so just chopped it up with him. Like, it was kind of crazy. So I was just walking around looking for people I knew.
There was a lot of people, dude. There's one last thing before we end this thing. I do want to call out the Blazers game operations.
Ooh, Steven
fact
called somebody out. Let's go.
Oh, I call lots of people out.
I know, I love it.
You don't think I call people out?
I think you could call people out more. I think you could take a little bit more inspiration from, like, me or Eric. Be a little bit more feisty. Sometimes sometimes you just toe the line in such, like, a chill way, and I'm like, dang, I want Steven to get a little more feistier on Twitter, man.
You guys, okay, well, I can't stand Twitter fights. I have to stop. I've had to control myself. Some people have some takes, and I'm just like, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. But you guys just complain about the media. I can't back on that. As low as I am on the totem pole, I am still part of the media, even though I'm a nobody in the media. I can't have you guys calling us out, you jerks.
Us. You said you finally admitted it. See, yeah,
you're part of the media too.
No, you just said we call you guys out. You guys being the media.
I will say, Torey, dude, you're just as much as media as I am. You literally work for a radio station. You are employed by a radio station, which is the media. Not kind of. You write.
I got
for the
multiple
website.
Jobs, so I don't know.
You also work for. What is it? Hog Media. It's literally media.
Yeah. Well, that's influence.
Literally media in the title.
Yeah. Well, that's more YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. That's more YouTuber.
You're
stuff.
Media, bro. You're media.
That's social influencer.
Okay.
I think they call it.
But game operations of the Blazers. Why does it have to take me like 20 minutes of standing outside to get into the arena? I understand that. Like, every other game the Blazers have had, there's been nobody in the arena. But now that there's, like, people that were at the game, it took so long just to get into the arena. Really was making me mad. And when you got kids there, we had both our kids there, they're just so annoying at that point. And so it's like, you want to just get in and, like, get some food or find your seats or whatever. But it takes, like, 20 minutes. Like, get your act together, Blazers. Let's go.
What time did you get there?
Maybe, like, 6:30, 6:35.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I got there about the same time. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Well, you know what it is.
Did you have to wait a long time?
No, you gotta go by the entrances by the fountains.
That's where I went.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, and I don't know how I didn't run into because I was there pretty much the same time.
Because there's so many people there.
True. That does make sense now, huh? They need another entrance.
Yeah, they're just not equipped to have lots of people go to their game. That's the thing. They're so used to not having anybody. I mean, I've been to some games this year where it's like it's just a breeze to get in. I'm there like 20 minutes for the game. I just walk right in.
Yeah,
that's what I was expecting. So
do they? Are those the only two entrances?
I think there's another one on the side. There's like a miniature one on the side where like they do the TV halftime show and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's an entrance as well.
It's really hard, I guess, to put in a more legit entrance. You got that road that's like right there. I don't know, man, but yeah.
Yeah, with all like the buses and stuff.
Yeah, it's always been brutal. Like there's been times where the steps are like the main entrances that go kind of by in front of Memorial Coliseum where I've been like past the last set of steps and I'm sitting there for 20, 25 minutes and they're going slow as hell. I swear they've gotten slower at getting people through. Like, there was a point where, like, I was in the door and we could not move forward for, like, legitimately, like, 2 to 3 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, we didn't miss anything, obviously, but, like, especially that game. Like, you didn't want to miss the intro. You don't want to miss all that stuff. And it's like, we got there, half hour, 6:30, 6:35. We're like, oh, we got plenty of time. And then it's like, oh, it's like 6:50, 6:55. Like, are we going to make it? Are we going to get in there?
Yeah.
So,
it's bad.
Maybe a little bad. Come on, Blazer game ops. Get your act together. All right. Well, with that, Torey, you got anything else you want to talk about, or
Nah, man. I mean, we're going to have a lot more to talk about here in a week. Definitely going to try and do something after the trade deadline and get your thoughts on how things went down. Maybe even something like the Blazers got 3 days off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I feel like there was a lot more that we could have gotten into. So we'll find time.
I was debated on asking you maybe to come on like a post-game show or something for a little bit. I don't know.
Dude, yeah, just surprise guest. I won't even tell Eric.
Yeah.
Just you pop in.
Hey, what's up, guys?
That would actually be... Dude, we might have to do that. This is going to be a test to see if he watches this episode, to see if he knows or not. So nobody spoil it.
And then I'm going to start Blazer goat talk, and I'll be like, oh, we all know Dame's not the goat. Come on.
Yeah, just your voice out of nowhere. We're at that point. Yeah, we're at that point of the season too, where it's like I'm starting to think about, okay, so assuming they trade guys at the deadline, how can we entertain people? What can we come up with? Because at some point
top
it gets a
5
little
trades of the 2010s.
Yeah. So at some point it gets a little gimmicky. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to figure that out. Luckily, man. There's only 2 days
I do want to bring up one more thing, real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick, Torey. What's this? What do you think of my theory here on why everyone hates Chauncey Billups so much? Is that he's the final piece of the Neil O'Shea? Like he still has Neil O'Shea attached to him.
I don't think that's the.
Do you think it has anything to do with
it? I think that might have something to do with it for some people, but I think that's the minority opinion. I was
just thinking about that today, like, because he's literally like, I mean, an ant, but like, you know, he didn't really play when O'Shea was around. Like, he wasn't really the guy. Like, Chauncey was Neil O'Shea's handpicked guy from the beginning. We knew it was happening. It wasn't a secret when Terry Stotts was getting fired. It's like, oh, Chauncey Billups is coming in. Yeah, that's the guy. So like, he still has that O'Shea stench on him. So I don't know. I thought maybe that's another reason why like there's still some real animosity towards Chauncey.
It's definitely possible. I'm not sure.
All right. With that, that's going to end it. I just have all these theories that pop in my head. I just need to ask people. So, my man Torey Jones, Stephen Vaughan, Scorchin Trails, we out. Blazers, do something with your life.